Hello everyone and welcome to the Smashi Business Show. Today is Tuesday, December 30, 2025, just one day before we go to the New Year's celebration and all that. But I'm Abdul Majid Awan.
And I'm Wed Ahmed. And for today's headlines, first up, Syria has just introduced new post-Assad banknotes. The Pentagon has awarded Boeing an $8.6 billion F-15 fighter jet contract for Israel. And finally, Presight wins a multi-year Albania Smart Nation AI contract.
How are you, Worth, and how's it been? How's winter treating you?
Winter? I don't like the winter.
Yeah, why?
Like, you know how some people get seasonal depression?
Oh, yeah.
That's me. I just don't like it.
The winter blues is actually...
No, seriously, it's real. It's not for me. Like, I need spring to come back. I wouldn't say I need Dubai summer to come back.
Oh, yeah.
But I need summer news to come back.
Yeah.
I think we need more news there.
No, I'm fine with winters. It's good outside. I think it depends on where you come from. I think people who come from warmer regions, they love this place right now, and they're wearing their hoodies and everything. It's a big market. I always am surprised by this fact that whenever there's a winter collection in the stores, I was at a mall yesterday and I looked at the winter collection and they had fur coats. I was like, where would you wear this? It's not that cold in the UAE. Saudi, maybe some hilly areas. But who buys those, right?
No, literally, I agree with you.
Yeah, and I think they just take that clothing, put it in the stores, and then after 2 months, they just put it back in the storage and bring it out the next year, right?
Imagine, you know what's something I'm seeing the most right now? And correct me if I'm wrong, but there are so many New Year's Eve ads.
Oh, yes.
And they're all directed towards Ihmar. You know,
oh, yes.
You have Upton, the guy who basically sold his creative agency Up10 to the Love in Dubai owner. You have him. He went all the way to America. I know that he went back. I follow him. And he managed to publish an Ahmad video. So I know you made this video before you went back home for Christmas. And then you have Omar Al-Farouq, the Bahraini influencer, an Ahmad ad. And I'm like, what is going on?
Are they really doing influencer marketing now?
I don't know if I know it's an ad. I just know it's an ad.
Yeah, it looks like an ad, right?
But they're all doing it. They're all doing it in different methods. And I'm like, why are they hyping it up so much? Do you think it needs that hype? Because I think, by the way, you know that some people specifically travel to live in Dubai until New Year's? They stay here for 1 to 2 months. And my question is, is this marketing really necessary?
Influencer marketing works because people follow, if you have a travel niche and people watch you to go to places. I think it works to an extent. Fashion, Huda Beauty started as an influencer, now has a brand. So I think it works. The only thing for me is the hassle of going to those fireworks shows. It's you have to travel.
Not doing it.
I'll tell you, the Burj Khalifa one, you take a metro, come out of the metro, you have to walk a lot to go to that place. Then finding a table, even finding standing space. Tables are going up from $500 dirhams up to 7,000, 10,000 dirhams for one person, just to get that view and be on that table and sit. And then the metro is running all night, but then you have to walk again from that place because the roads are closed. Sheikh Zayed closes. I've never seen Sheikh Zayed empty, but last year, New Year's Eve, my uncle lived on Sheikh Zayed. So I came down from his tower and I looked and I was like, what is happening? And it was New Year's. So I got a really nice view from his living area. He has a 3-sided glass door window. So I could see Burj Khalifa on my left and Burj Al Arab. I had the whole view. I saw 6-7 fireworks. But then after that, after all of it calms down, I came down. I was like, where are all the people? And then everyone was walking on Sheikh Zayed in the middle of the road, going back home and doing I was like, wow,
walking in the road to get back home.
Yeah, because the roads are closed.
Oh.
Those roads are closed for New Year's Eve. So I think 4 p.m. or 5 p.m. onwards, a lot of roads start closing. It's such a magnificent kind of setup where it's so systematic, it's so nicely well managed.
It's so magical.
It's just a lot of walking, actually.
It's so special, and
I think the contention point for me that I have to walk so much, spend 6-7 hours just to see. I don't know how long they're doing it this year.
I'm not sure either, but I love the most, Majid. Wherever you are in Dubai, you're gonna have that New Year's feeling because I live all the way in Al Qudra and I literally look at the back from the desert and the
Nice.
fireworks are there.
Oh,
They're
you
all
have
there.
a very
like,
nice,
listen, I get a nice view. I
unobstructed
sit, literally,
view.
I sit in my mom's balcony and just stare at everything. But it's just as this year comes to an end and
Yeah.
we have 2026. Like that's literally great, guys. Like 2030 is soon. Saudi Arabia's 2030 vision.
Yeah.
Stargate UAE is soon. There's so much going on. But as this year comes to an end, I feel that there's almost this feeling of so many changes coming.
Yeah.
And we see that in Syria right now.
Yeah, and Syria has unveiled, that's the first story of the day, that they've unveiled new series of banknotes that will replace Assad-era currency, marking one of the most visible symbolic shifts since the civil war ended last December. Finally, we'll have pictures to share without Mr. Al-Assad. And the President, Ahmed al-Shara, and Central Bank Governor Abdul Qadir Husrey announced the rollout, which will begin gradually from January 1 across the country.
Now, the move follows the collapse of the Syrian pound's purchasing power during more than a decade of conflict, which ended when rebels toppled Bashar al-Assad's regime. Now, officials say the new currency is intended to stabilize confidence in the pound, even as the economy continues to face deep structural challenges.
And speaking at the unveiling in Damascus, as Worth likes to call it, and I have started loving that word, Damashq, President al-Shara said the new banknotes deliberately avoid portraits or landmarks, instead featuring animals and crops. He described the design as an expression of the new national identity and a move away from the veneration of individuals associated with the previous era.
Now, images shown included a 25-pound note with mulberries, a 50-pound note with oranges, and a 200-pound note with olives and a horse, and a 500-pound note with wheat. However, al-Shara cautioned that removing zeros from the currency does not mean improving the economy.
Yeah, and Central Bank Governor Abdul Qadir Husrey said the exchange period will last around 90 days and will not affect the exchange rate. He urged the public to remain calm, stressing the economic recovery depends on policy reform, higher production, and a stronger banking system, not new banknotes alone. So it's very nice that they've balanced it out. They're not just like, oh, we've lost. I like it how they're doing it. They're not saying, oh my God, new banknotes, so everything is so nice and great. They're like, no, we still need to work. We need to put in at least 4 or 5 years into coming back to like normal pace and then obviously growing from there and bringing the economy in a good place.
And I think also with this story, Majid, I know like some people might ask the question like, oh, like what's the difference here? You just, you dropped a guy's portrait from the banknotes, but this is something so significant. Visuals, they carry so much meaning. And for the longest time ever, for over 10 years, Syria was sanctioned, and it was sanctioned because of one man whose photo is on the banknotes. So it's not just it's not just removing bad juju, like just generally, but it's also important for the country's reputation. And I think with this entire story, we should celebrate it. This is something so progressive. Recently, you guys should read the entire interview. It's on the Smashi Business newsletter. Majid did this really great interview with these 2 Syrian brothers that basically founded this new AI platform that's like meant to be like an ethical replacement of ChatGPT. It's called Tharwa. Tharwa meaning revolution in Arabic. And the 2 brothers' names are Hani and Saad Shahabi. And these 2 brothers, I was reading the interview that Majid did, and what stood out to me is them saying, as the government in Syria was toppled and there's so much progressive change coming, they left their jobs, they left their corporate jobs, and that's because they're seeing so many Syrians going back to Syria. And this is what this story means. You don't realize the difference that this makes for many of the people that have pulled out of their home countries and gone to other countries to build. When they see that their country is building, even if it's just new banknotes, this is something that propels them towards creating new things. But I just think I don't understand though how they're building this AI platform
Yeah, it's
without
complicated.
without training it on user data. Because look, I
Yeah.
know that you can use Google, but didn't Google like trim
Yeah.
down the amount of searches from like 100
Yeah.
to 10 to like, make it more difficult for AI to train itself? So
Yeah.
I'm not understanding that bit. I'm with the people on that one. I'm a bit confused.
It's the main idea is there's like a lot of resources which you can use. I think in my time we used to have this school encyclopedia Britannica. It had like a Western look of the world. Like if you searched Syria in it, they would give you a Western version of the Syrian history. And I don't know how they will get the data because there is no other way apart from Google. And that is why Google has an edge over every LLM, every generative AI software right now, even OpenAI. Google's Gemini has access to the world's most biggest pool of data, right? OpenAI can take that data, train their models, Perplexity can do it, anyone can do it. But this question remains. I think their version is that they'll check all the data that goes onto it. Tharwa? Tharwa. That will also not answer you any questions about, for example, you ChatGPT yourself, you get a lot of information, right? It won't give that kind of information. I think they've started with a basic set of data about things. So you search on things. I used it for a while, very slow, and they say that it works on sustainable energy. It doesn't use any energy at all like ChatGPT does. When we say like you put in one prompt and it's like one glass of water being wasted. They're using renewable resources to power it. That's one point. That's a USP. The second USP is that I think they have put in a base data and then it won't train itself on your questions and answers. So I sometimes put a lot of details in ChatGPT or any other software or Claude, and I'm like, okay, summarize this. Claude remembers that part. Claude will take that part and eventually use it later if someone asks the question about the same thing, right? Their Tharwa AI will not do it. So that's one of the good things where if I'm having personal chats with it, a lot of people do, for their psychological conditions, mental health, and they take all these LLMs to new levels of doctors. I think that data will not be stored, and that's the USP. So base data is there about stuff, but it will not save any of your information because all the generative AI things that you use, ChatGPT, anything, they clearly say in their terms and condition that whatever you talk to them about, generative AI is live learning from your conversation as well. So if you want something certain way, like ChatGPT, if you start talking to it, it remembers stuff about you. Like, oh, you like things like this, you don't want long answers, you want short answers, you want this, you're a journalist. Sometimes you say, right, oh, write a news story for me and do this and do that. It remembers. Thora will not. So they've built it. I don't know how they will scale it. It's going to be complicated.
You know what though, Majid? I see the vision.
Yeah.
I know that some people might like argue that, oh, like it's a ChatGPT dupe. Like,
Yeah.
you know how like they're, people are trying to boycott cola. So they
Yeah.
made a bunch of like new cola brands very recently. They launched one in Dubai called Frio. But anyways, back to the story. What I'm basically trying to say is I think that I do see the vision in the sense of that I know a lot of people who don't really use AI
Yeah.
to do like magnanimous tasks.
Yeah.
Like writing essays or
Yeah.
which is what people are doing nowadays, utilizing it to write their essays, to do their work in professional spaces, which is completely normal. But I think that, if I was someone who just used ChatGPT for simple things like, oh, can you plan me 5 days of workouts?
Yeah.
Or just to like get the ideas going, I think that an AI bot like this would honestly work out.
Yeah. For basic stuff, it's good. But yeah, for complicated tasks, which other LLMs can do, I think it will take a lot of time for them to figure that out.
I think it's
but
smart because
it's a good first step.
Now it's kind of like that ethical version that everyone will
Yeah.
run to when they're like, that's it, we're done with Sam Altman. We want to boycott him. We don't like what they stand for.
Yeah.
And this leads us to our second story today. which is the U.S. Department of Defense has awarded Boeing an $8.6 billion contract to supply advanced F-15 fighter jets to Israel, marking one of the largest recent defense agreements tied to the Israeli Air Force.
And according to Pentagon, the contract covers the design, integration, testing, production, and delivery of the 25 new F-15IA aircraft, with an option for Israel to purchase an additional 25 jets at a later stage.
Now, the aircraft will be built for the Israeli Air Force with work carried out primarily in the U.S. state of Missouri. Now, the Pentagon said that the program is expected to run until December 31st, 2035, reflecting the extremely long-term scope of the deal.
And the announcement follows a meeting between U.S. President Donald Trump and Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu in Florida, where Mr. Netanyahu also held closed-door talks with Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth.
So the deal underscores Washington's continued military support for Israel, even as defense corporations faces growing international scrutiny. Now, the new F-15IA jets are expected to give Israel this edge.
Yeah, and it should be connected to the recent Saudi deal of F-35s that the Saudis are buying, and everyone was questioning, like, there is in their defense law in the US that they have a policy that they will never supply the same high-end ammunition, jets, anything to any other Middle Eastern country apart from Israel, because according to them, it's good to safeguard Israel and it's their imperative to safeguard Israel. But everyone was questioning why the latest F-35s are being given to Saudi Arabia. That brings Saudi Arabia's air power to same as Israel. But now this story is completely like...
Had they gotten it approved yet, Matt?
Yeah.
Okay.
They signed the deal when His Highness, His Royal Highness, the Crown Prince of Saudi Arabia, Mohammed bin Salman, he went to the US recently after Mr. Trump came earlier this year. So they signed the deal. It's nearly done. Obviously, it will go through all those procedures that everything goes through. But I remember Mr. Trump making that comment in his speech at the US-Saudi business event. He said, don't worry, it's done. It will take 5 minutes, but I'm saying it's done.
5 minutes?
Yeah. According to him, if he signs something, it's final, what he thinks. But there's a lot of procedure all these decisions go through. But now I think it will go through because now they're giving Israel back that aerial superiority, right? They're giving them a new order of new F-35s, the more latest ones.
Which is completely, I think it's the entire story in itself, I think, is completely concerning, considering the fact that many international organizations and human rights organizations have attempted to place pressure on Israel as it does continue a genocide in Gaza. And continues to block aid. But I think when we take a look at the story, we need to take a look at the facts. And the facts are is that since Donald Trump has come to the White House, they have donated, I would say donation, $12 billion to Israel. And not just that. El Monitor, they released this piece that essentially the CEO of Lockheed Martin, Frank St. John, actually had a private meeting with Netanyahu in December 1st. So, we can clearly see that they've done a lot of work to put this deal in place. It's just, I think when you take a look at it's going to be interesting to also see the future of Boeing. Because we know that Boeing has an extremely large presence in the Middle East, and especially with Qatar. I believe when Donald Trump came to visit the Middle East, the Qataris, they bought like over 200 Boeing planes. So I think that they need to tread carefully with such deals of might they threaten your contracts in the future, or because it would be nice to see more players maybe come in.
I've realized that whenever you see that U.S. is moving towards anti-Israel policy, something new comes up. F-35s was the biggest question. Everyone was thinking that maybe because now aerial superiority will be same for Saudi, one of the biggest economies in the Middle East. they thought that, oh, now US is moving towards a neutral policy towards Middle East and they won't favor Israel. But this obviously clears the air that they're not. They have a very pro-Israel agenda, very clearly. Economically also, we've seen yesterday there was a news story. We'll do it like in detail today, that Israeli tech people are asking for moving out of Israel. They have a lot of unicorns. They have like 20% of their GDP is tech-based, technology-based, innovation-based. We've seen so many things come out of Israel. There's so many softwares, so many portals that we already use. But those people, their first preference to go out of Israel is US. They want to move to the US. Be it war, they call it war, it's a genocide. I don't know where the war is in Israel, it's all Gaza that is suffering. But they have asked people, there's a whole report, and it's done by one of the Israeli NGOs, so it's even like has more authenticity to it. And they're saying that they want to move out, and the first preference is US. So it's like home for them.
Yeah.
So obviously we see pro-Israeli policies by them also.
I'm not really completely surprised that they consider, a US a home for them. I remember I had one of my friends, and she visited New York, and she was basically telling me how when she was there and she was going into the museums, for some reason the Israeli flag was just everywhere. Like people would just walk in the street waving it, and that's for them. But I think it reminds me of that really one of the largest all cash acquisitions in the tech world that happened this year was with Wiz. Wiz is essentially this I think it's like a cybersecurity startup, and it was bought by Google's parent company Alphabet for $32 billion in cash. In fact, Google went to them at some point and tried to buy it for over $20 billion, and they said no. But and they were offered over 30. I mean, how could they not say yes? But it's when you bring up that point of the U.S. being their first choice, it reminds me of that story. But it's also the fact of, we also did another story on Smashi before of how Israel is seeing extremely high skilled people just leave the country. And it also has to do with their budgets. They're
taxed more because obviously war is expensive. It's not cheap to do a genocide, actually, not a war. So, they're being taxed more, their benefits are being taken away. So, those people who are actually against war also, they're stuck because of the policies of the government. But let's move on to the next story. ADX listed data analytics company Presight. We're trying to cover them more and more because they're doing something great, to be honest. Silently, that too, has signed a landmark multi-year agreement with Albania's Ministry of Internal Affairs to implement a nationwide AI-powered Smart Nation program following a letter of intent signed earlier this year.
So under the agreement, Presight will deploy an integrated smart city platform across 20 cities and 28 international border points, supporting real-time operations management, advanced traffic and mobility systems, improved emergency response coordination, and next-generation command and control frameworks.
And the program is designed to digitalize critical national infrastructure and integrate AI into government decisions, Albania's government decision-making, improving obviously efficiency, institutional efficiency, and daily public services also. It's like getting permits and all that. Like here in the UAE, you get everything very quickly, your Emirates ID and visa. Albanian officials view the initiative by Presight as a long-term investment in national safety, resilience, and public sector modernization.
So Presight, a subsidiary of G42, said the deal reflects growing cooperation between the UAE and Albania, with the project positioning Albania as a regional model for responsible AI deployment at national scales across Europe.
And the contract builds on a $118.5 million project announced in February during a state visit by His Highness Sheikh Mohammed bin Zayed Al Nahyan, the president of the UAE, and is financed by the Abu Dhabi Fund for Development and covers nationwide camera, sensor, and traffic monitoring systems.
I think with this entire story, Majid, much more than the fact that we need a Presight. When you have the Palantir co-founder telling you we need to bring public hangings back.
Yeah.
You need other replacements, you need other options, and I think Presight has become that option. And the fact that they're in Albania, when I read Smart AI Nation, I was like, what are you talking about? Like, what is going on? Everything's becoming a city. Benrati, the real estate developer, they're building a Mercedes city. Like, we just need more cities. And it's kind of like with Neom. They're making a new city. They love that word. But I think with this story, it's the fact that they have really found a way to establish presence, not just in Europe, but the entire Western world.
Yeah.
I remember there was this story earlier on in the year where Mubadala invested in this UK chip maker called Paragraph. And they were essentially losing money, and Mubadala had saved them. And we don't just see Mubadala's sovereign wealth fund that's over $300 billion doing this. We also see MGX doing this, having been a part of the $500 billion Stargate project in the US, and is also involved with Stargate UAE. We see them involved with the TikTok US deal. So I think that these foreign investments, they're extremely strategic, and we see them. We see them like rooted out in like different vehicles across the UAE.
And that's a good thing that they have a company for everything. They don't go in with one company and try to do like 10 things.
It's a really lavish menu.
Yeah, to
It
be
really
honest,
is.
I've realized over the last year, since we're doing last year wrap-ups, that in I think 2 or 3 years, you'll see at least one G42 company at least doing some business with most of the countries. Whereas we talk about CEPAs a lot this year, the Comprehensive Economic Partnership Agreements. Through that also, UAE is not only doing basic trade where they're sending like cents and they're getting Indian oils and all that, it's also technology transfer in that. There's also decision-making transfer. There's also AI transfer, like knowledge transfer in those CEPAs. So it's very interesting how UAE, Saudi Arabia is also doing great with AI. It's just, as Word said yesterday, both have different strategies for AI. One is building data centers, one is investing in the AI which will use that data centers. But at the end of the day, they're both very bullish on AI. And I think that is the story of the year. Every big event that we went to, we covered, we did in this year, everything was about AI. FII, a hardcore economic finance event, completely talking, everyone was talking about AI. And everyone thought that it would be something else. But FII, the Davos in the desert, like a version of World Economic Forum in Saudi Arabia. All AI. And all the events, Web Summit
Even
was...
North Star, it was all about AI.
Half of the startups that you go to expand North Star, everyone had at least AI written on it because they knew that to get a person to invest in you, you need to now have, we have this AI-enabled something.
We need a new discussion, though.
Yeah.
I vote for a new discussion.
Yeah.
I'm tired.
I think 2026 should be something else.
I went to way too many panels, and it's like, there are really big people who I really love and respect, and every single panel was, we are so bullish on AI. Yeah. That's great, but like, teach me how to operate it better.
Yeah,
you
and
know?
I think the AI minister for UAE, His Excellency Umar Sultan Al Ulama, he was at so many events this year because he is the Minister of AI, and who better to talk about it. We'll try to do tomorrow a wrap-up of the whole year. So let's see where it takes us.
Yeah, and that's a wrap for today, everyone. Thank you for tuning into the Smashi Business Show. Make sure to follow us across all social media channels at Smashi Business and stay ahead with our daily newsletter. You'll find the subscription link in the description.
This has been a Smashi Business Show, a Smashi Business production, part of the Augustus Media Podcast Network. A big shout out to our more than 2 million monthly listeners across all platforms. You make this possible. Thank you to our production team also. Today, Ujjwal is doing the honors. Thank you so much. Have a great day, and we'll see you tomorrow.